critical thinking when it comes to faith. Now, faith obviously is by definition is something that is almost the purposeful suspension of critical thinking because it's not based on proof or evidence. Examples would be faith in ourselves, faith in humanity, faith in the future, faith in our intelligence, all different things. Faith in God, that's probably what the word faith is most associated with. And that's one of the things I just want to talk about in the context of this word because it's thrown around a lot in the language all around the world, and especially when it comes to religious faith, because again, it's not based on evidence. So let's talk about religious faith for a second in the context of critical thinking. Critical thinking, this is not anything against religious faith at all. It's just critical thinking. It's objective reality that you're more likely to select your religion based on geography than you are on education. In other words, we don't typically, as children, we don't typically get a menu of, well, here's Hinduism and here are the basic principles and the tenets, and here's Christianity and here's Islam and here's Buddhism and here's Hinduism and here's, all the different, there's 4,000 gods in the world. 4,000. That's a lot of gods, okay? And typically people will defend, especially really religious people, will defend their God to the nth degree, primarily not because of any evidence or proof or data or anything like that or any critical thinking, but because they've been indoctrinated in that particular religion. Why that particular religion? Not because that religion is better than any other religion. They're all based in a belief in the supernatural, the beyond, something beyond the natural world, which has absolutely no evidence to it. There's never been any real hard evidence to it. So you have to suspend your disbelief and have faith. That's the idea, right? But they'll defend, you hear it all the time, especially with people that are really extreme when it comes to their religion, or their beliefs are really strong, would be probably a better way, a nicer way to say it. They'll defend it, but mostly it's based on where they were born. If you were born in the United States or Canada or Mexico or, a lot of different countries, your faith, you probably believe in the Christian God. And again, we weren't given a menu. I remember going to church as a little tiny kid, like a lot of people, and no one said, well, you can choose. No, they said, this is what we believe in. This is our God. Well, there are 4,000 gods. I would have had would have been nice to have a little bit of a choice to choose, but that's not really the way religion works anywhere in the world, okay? You're indoctrinated more than educated. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. That's like another thing for another day, or that's, not really my bailiwick. But the idea here is that in terms of critical thinking, which is what I talk about a lot along with mental toughness, is it's really based on, your belief is really based on more of where you're born. So if you were born in Saudi Arabia, you're most likely a Muslim. Okay, and and say Iran is another one, okay? And that's what we've seen recently where, some of the protesters are being executed. Well, that's based on religion. That's based on violating the religious belief system of that country, okay? Parts of India, you would believe in Hanuman, the monkey god. And a lot of people never heard of Hanuman, but in parts of India, that's God. That is the real, true, living God. If you're in Southeast Asia, let's say Thailand would be a good example where there's a big a Buddhist population in Thailand. Well, they typically weren't given, again, a menu of things to look at based on education. They were just born there and people said, this is what we believe in. Okay, now, in critical thinking, we would say none of this is really an issue, okay, because it's faith, because it's belief in something with no evidence or proof or data to support it. It's just a belief, and it gives people comfort, and it gives people structure, and for most people, the idea of the randomness, the chaos concept of life, where things are absolutely just random and nothing really has any meaning, is very hard for people to live with. It's hard for people to live with the concept of randomness. So they don't. And I'm not judging whether it's right or wrong. I'm not a judge. That's really not my thing. But the idea is that where it crosses over into a problem is when countries start basing legislation on supernatural beliefs. That's when it becomes a problem. And they do it all over the world. They're executing people right now in Iran because of their going against their moral authority based on their religion. We do it here in the United States, right? We discriminate against all kinds of people based on, which is really rooted, and we hide it. We cover it up. The politicians like to cover it up. The big money groups like to cover it up, right? The special interest groups and the PACs cover up the religious angle. But make no mistake, it's a religious angle. Okay, that's where they're coming from. They're trying to pass legislation based on their belief, their faith in the supernatural, something with absolutely no evidence or fact. Doesn't mean it's not true, just means there's absolutely no evidence or hard evidence or data to support it. Okay, so it's all fine until people start getting hung, because in the public square like they are right now in Iran, because their violation of their religious belief in that country. And that's where it goes too far. So that's a whole nother, that's just a whole topic in itself. But the point is with critical thinking, of course, is it's really thinking based on evidence and data and proof and support, devoid of emotion. And that's difficult, of course, to talk about faith when it comes to critical thinking, because effectively they're the opposite. They're the polar opposite concept. Okay, but if you start to question why you believe what you believe, why you have so much faith, a lot of people do have faith in something that basically was largely based on where you were born, not what you were educated in. More education, more indoctrination than education. And again, this is not to offend anyone that's deeply religious. This is just critical thinking. That's what it is. If you were born in Saudi Arabia, you were most likely never going to be a Christian. Christianity is not on the menu. Okay? Again, if you're born in Thailand, you are not going to be a Christian. You're going to be a Buddhist, because that's the way you're raised from the time before you can think for yourself. You've had years of indoctrination with this one idea that this is the living God. This is the one true God. Well, there's 4,000 gods. 4,000. There's people all over the world, billions of people that claim this is the God because they were born in a certain country. So it marginalizes the concept a little bit just because it's based more on geography than it is education right off the bat. This is just critical thinking, okay? Just objective reality on this topic. But it's something to consider. And why would I bring it up in the context of critical thinking, again, when it's basically the polar opposite concept? It's because if you're going to base your life on a set of doctrines, okay, philosophies, texts, scrolls, these concepts, if you're going to base your entire value system on these things, wouldn't critical thinking suggest that it would be much more intelligent to base it on education than it would indoctrination? In other words, questioning everything. Questioning everything in the religion, whatever the religion may be, and to really put it up against the test. Doesn't mean you're not going to have to jump off and have faith at the end of the day, because there's not a single God in the world with any data to back up the supernatural concept. Their philosophies are one thing. These people's philosophies are one thing. But to say they're beyond the natural world, there's no evidence to back that up. Okay, no matter what anyone says, there is no hard evidence. It would never pass. That's why it would never pass a court of law. That's why you have to have faith. And people say, well, that's why I have faith, because I believe. And that's fine. That's fine. My point is, in critical thinking, we question everything. And if you're going to base your whole life on a set of beliefs with no evidence, wouldn't it make sense to really study these things and to really dive in as much as you can? And even if you do have to make that leap of faith at the end of your study, at least you're basing your life on education as opposed to just indoctrination, or what some people would call brainwashing. It's something to think about. It's not always the most fun thing, and if I've offended you with this, it's not the intention. Okay, the intention is to use critical thinking, to stop thinking emotionally, which faith is very emotional, okay? To stop thinking emotionally and think critically, think logically. And then, again, if you say, well, you still have to, Steve, you don't get it, you still have to take the leap of faith. Absolutely. That's fine. That's a decision you make, and that's fine. But why not make the jump based on more education than just where you were born? And people said, this is true, this is what these do, this is the book that we follow, and you don't get a choice, and you have to base your entire life on this. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, and that's why we're seeing the younger generations educate themselves more. And that's why the fastest growing religious group is the nun. They call them the nuns, the non-religious affiliation group, because they're educating themselves. And it doesn't mean it's anything against religion. It's just that critical thinking demands that we educate ourselves instead of just taking what people have said over the years or written in a book as the gospel. No pun intended. Something to think about in critical thinking and when it comes to faith. Faith can be a wonderful thing. There's no question about it. My point is just educate yourself and then put it through the test. And then, if you want to, if you choose to, then take your leap of faith.